Bill Henshaw here, Constitutional Crisis Channel, and yet another current event that has a lot more significance than it might appear to at first. And part one of this happened, I spent a lot of time with my sister back in Connecticut and moving her out to California. She's safely here now with some other family members. And during that time, they had a decision come down, I believe, out of the United States Second Circuit Court of Appeals. I think it's the Second Circuit in Rhode Island, but whatever it is, the big deal is that Rhode Island had been, hit some financially hard times, and the coffers are being drained very quickly. And the legislature reached the conclusion that they could no longer pay out a lot of these retirement benefits and things to people that had served their 20 or 25 years or whatever. And they were going to reduce this kind of benefit and maybe some health care benefits and other things, and perhaps even eliminate some of them. You can imagine the unions involved here, AFSCME and some other ones, were not very happy about that. They went to court, and to this point, they lost. The second court, in effect, ruled that there was no right to these benefits, so therefore Rhode Island was free to do whatever they wished in terms of paring the benefits or maybe even taking them away altogether. Now, I haven't read the full opinion yet. I don't know if in that case Rhode Island cites the case that I would tell you about, and I'm going to tell you about, which is Fleming v. Nestor, 363 U.S. 603, where the Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 decision that, had it gone the other way, would have changed the course of American history, that there was no right cognizable to the Constitution in the receipt of Social Insecurity benefits. Now, the minority here, and the minority included William O. Douglas and Hugo L. Black and Bill Brennan, who was relatively new on the court and was far too liberal for me, but he was right about this one, and Chief Justice Earl Warren. And they upbraided the majority, who did not address the issue they should have addressed. And I give counsel credit, for Nestor here, for raising the Bill of Attainder issue, because that's exactly what Social Security is. If they can tax you and take all your money, or as much of it as they want, and then put it into a fund and other things to which you have no right to access, well, that's your property, and now all of a sudden it's gone at the stroke of a government pen. That doesn't strike me as being anywhere consistent with the ordaining and establishing of our Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Now, the really big deal here for this is that in the 5, and who wrote the opinion, was Justice John Harlan. And he was the weakest link. What happens in a 5-4 case like this is the most senior justice assigns it. And they gave it to Harlan because if they didn't write it correctly, he might have gone the other way and the case would have been 5-4 in our favor. But he did that, and I think till the end of his term, many years later, 1971, he wrote a concurring opinion in Oregon v. Mitchell. And I don't have the citation on that one off the top of my head, but I will get it for you. And in fact, any of you that want that Oregon v. Mitchell or the Fleming case, send me an email, ccaspari@live.com. You can also ask for information about my document package, which I'll cheerfully include, as well as an exemplar of my work. So that said, I think at the end of his days on the court, Marshall realized, among other things, what he had done in this Fleming case and other things he regretted during his period. And I think that opinion can be read as an apology for that. He couldn't undo what he did, unfortunately. But the point we're talking about here is that there's no right to quote-unquote public benefits, and that's what they think these retirement benefits and even health care are. Now, just recently, there's been a bigger article you may have seen on the internet in the last week or so, that a lot of jurisdictions and states are facing these kinds of fiscal problems. And therefore, these benefits could be put in jeopardy here of not being paid at all, or at least reduced benefits from what you thought you had a valid contract to have. Now, the real point I want to make here is if you belong, for example, to the California Highway Patrol or the California Sheriff's Association or people like that, why do you want to go out and do their bidding and arrest us, throw us in jail all over the place, sometimes shoot us in the back 8 times and commit second-degree murder? Why would you want to do all of that for a system which has no more regard for your rights than it does for ours? I would love to have an answer to that question. Any of you union associations out there, please send me an email. As I just said, ccaspari@live.com. I would love to hear it. They don't care. They're using you just like they're using us. You have a little bit the better of them for the time that you're in your official position, quote unquote official. But my goodness, the bottom line here is you don't have any more rights than we do. And that's a situation that needs to be fixed in its entirety. And that's what I'm working on to do. More about this one on the next video. Thank you.